Texas Governor Greg Abbott is joining us live tonight, and we want to get straight to our questions, Governor. We want to start talking to you about the return to school. You probably heard at the top of our newscast, very sad news. A 5-year-old boy has died in Dallas County. The number of kids who are testing positive for COVID-19 in Dallas County continues to go up, more than 1,400 this month alone, according to the health department. I want to know, how do you feel when you hear those numbers? Does it even make sense to try to return to school in the next few weeks or even after Labor Day?
Well, first of all, the news about that death is absolutely tragic, but it also emphasizes the point, and that is anybody can contract COVID-19, hence everybody needs to be vigilant about making sure they do all they possibly can to avoid contracting it. That means doing everything possible to remain at home, if that is possible. If it's not possible to remain at home, then when you do go out, be sure you do wear a face covering of some sort. As you know, UNT Health Science Center there in Fort Worth came out with a study showing that people who wear face coverings that has led to a decrease in the spread of COVID-19 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. People can be safe in going about their everyday activities if they engage in these safe practices.
Governor, county judges across Texas have been asking for more power. They say they want to make more specific orders in place that really fit their specific areas. And according to the latest Quinnipiac poll, 68% of Texans agree with them. In the last few days, I've heard you've been saying that county judges do have lots of room to make the decisions that they need to make. But remember back in April and May, you were publicly calling out county judges who were making orders that you didn't agree with. So why are you hesitant right now to let local leaders lead?
Actually, I've been urging local leaders to step up and to begin enforcing these orders. There's been a clamoring to have more power, but there has been a reluctance by local officials to actually enforce the orders that already exist. There was a story in the Austin American-Statesman earlier this week pointing out that the city of Austin has issued 0 citations for people not following the mask order. Everyone was clamoring, asking for a mask order. I imposed a mask order, and nobody's enforcing it. In Dallas, I hear now that they are enforcing it, but there are plenty of orders that exist that put limitations on capacity at different types of locations, as well as limitations on public gatherings. And yet, in so many locations across the state of Texas, no local official is actually stepping up and using the tools they have to enforce those orders. And let me tell you why those orders are so important. If everyone were to follow the orders that currently exist, it would effectively slow the spread. We've seen that with my closure of the bars. We've seen that with the statewide mandatory mask order, that it does slow the spread. If we can get everybody to comply with the orders that exist, it will continue to slow the spread of the coronavirus.
I understand what you're saying, but I will point out that back in April and May, when some of the county judges were trying to enforce their orders, you were critical of that. But let me ask you this. We've heard from teachers, parents, school administrators saying that there have been too many last-minute changes when it comes to this plan to try to get kids back in school. Would you consider overriding county orders on when in-person classes can go back?
Well, actually, what the Texas Education Agency did, it put the power within the local school districts, knowing that what is going on the ground in one school district in one part of the state of Texas is going to be different than what's happening in some other area in the state of Texas. And hence, it's going to be up to the local school board leaders and the superintendents of the schools in each area of the state of Texas to be the ultimate decider about when the school year begins, and then when it begins, whether or not it will begin in person or online, when the school year will end, and how many class days they will have in between.
Let's talk contact tracing now. We've heard from experts across the board who have said how important that is, but Texas has not achieved the goal that you yourself set in April of having 4,000 contact tracers. Lawmakers from both parties have been criticizing the $300 million contract that went to MTX Group here in North Texas. Why is that effort failing, and would you consider canceling that state contract?
So we're at a stage now when you have community spread. The goal is to go into the community and test as many people as you can. Remember at that time when we announced the plan to have contact tracing, we were talking about hoping to have as many as 30,000 tests run per day. Right now we are exceeding double that, more than 60,000 tests per day. So what we're doing, we're actually surging more testing to more areas across Dallas County, for example, where we're able to determine the magnitude of the spread in certain regions and help people be responsive. And I'll add on top of that, we've also increased the turnaround time. We were having difficulty with private labs and getting turnaround of the testing results. That has been expedited now by, in part, partnering with UT Southwestern there in Dallas, as well as other local labs to make sure that we get the test results back a whole lot faster.
You're talking about testing, but what about this contact tracing and the contract? Would you consider canceling it?
So we will always be looking to make modifications as needed. The goal, however, is to make sure that we are protecting Texans as best as possible, and we will use whatever tool and strategy is best to make sure we keep Texans safe.
Governor Abbott, we sure appreciate your time, and given that it is opening day, I have to say from Dallas, we're all saying, go Rangers. Thanks so much for your time. Chris, Izzy, we'll go back to you.
Go Rangers. Good luck.